2,000 migrants were placed into a New York City school to shelter them.
Oh, I think I heard this.
And then the students had to go back and do remote learning again. That's how bad the migrant situation in New York City is. So New York was famously touting that they're a sanctuary city, and Texas should take care of the migrants, and they just thought it was ridiculous that Texas didn't have the infrastructure or the finances to take care of the migrants. So Texas leaders started busing them to New York, and now New Yorkers, including Eric Adams, are finding it very difficult to handle all of the increased population that is coming in through the busing of the migrants. What do you think about this situation where, what you were speaking about and how you thought you were going to handle it kind of blows up in your face a little bit?
I feel like we move. One, these are people. First and foremost. I don't know why I'm laughing, but even that, busing these people to New York to prove a point is just so childish. It's so petty.
I don't think it is.
I think so. I think no, because I think you work out of. I think we're so divided, but I think if you want what's best, you work out a plan. Then, like, you go to the governor and y'all meet, and if you need help, ask for it. You don't just
They did.
You don't just send them there and be like, hey, now's your problem. So you say we have a problem with it. That's not how you do things.
I think you're oversimplifying the situation.
What do you mean?
Because
so help me understand what I'm missing.
Because oftentimes it's kind of like going back to the negotiation thing. Like, it's so simple to just say, hey, go to the president and ask for help. Well, Eric Adams is asking the president for help, and he hasn't received a phone call back. And Texas was saying, look, our state is on the border, and we're getting all the migrants. The president is telling them not to close the border. The border is a federal federal thing. The state, in fact, right now, the state is going above the mandates of the federal government to shut down the border because there's so many people, coming through. So when you have other states claiming this is what you should have done, this is what you should have done, but they don't have the resources or the ability or the availability to take care of people the way that other states are, well, then if that's what you're going to say, then you can handle it.
But it's still just that is petty. It just creates another problem. I think I don't think you should call. No, I don't think that either. I think there's a way to do things right. Just because someone pisses you off doesn't mean you just bust a whole bunch of people there and say, hey, it's your problem, you deal with it now, if you can. You know what I mean?
Why not?
Because I think they're people.
Sure.
And you don't just do that to people.
Is the bus bad?
No, it's not the bus, but it's going there without a plan. They're migrants, yes, but you're still governing, that state, right? And then we should be. I just feel like we should be working together. We don't just pass our problem on to somebody else. We need to help. We need to work with each other to try to fix a problem.
Well,
it's kind of like with her. I don't know. I can barely keep my own life together. I can do with 100 people. But I think about when Katrina happened in 2015, and a lot of the New Orleans kids that came to our school, they were like, our school left them open arms, but a lot of different like Mississippi schools and stuff accept a lot of those students, and they just kind of like all the neighboring states just kind of helped out where we could. Not George Bush, but we just helped out where we could when it came to relocating people, when it came to making spaces for people. And I think there's a way for grown-ups, especially if they're leading their different states, no matter red, blue, purple, whatever, to come have conversations, say, hey, you know what, this is overwhelming for Texas. This is not working. You know what I mean? So ask for help. Even if it doesn't come from Joe Biden or from the federal government, I think there has to be a way where states can also talk and maybe come up with a plan. I just think there's plans. I think there's things that could be done. There's help that could happen. There's a lot of different places, like especially in the middle of the country, where the population is very, very low. And I'm not saying just move people around because people probably cross with family and stuff like that. But there has to be ways for grown-ups to talk to each other and come up with plans
What do
to
you
work.
think is happening?
From the way you made it sound, I felt like you were saying like, oh, Eric Adams said something that pissed the governor of Texas off, so the governor was like, okay, now you take them. That's what it sounded like. Instead of like, even Eric Adams probably shouldn't have run his mouth anyway. But instead of like, oh hey, Eric, whatever, I need your help. We can't house these people. It was more so like, oh, you think you can do better? Here, prove it. Oh my god. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, let me
Then
say
there's
this.
strange New York people. It's like, I don't know.
Oh no, the poor New York people.
No, not like that. It's like I'm not saying that these people. I'm not looking at the people as a problem. I'm looking at how things happen in our day-to-day life, and if your job is to kind of like put out fires. If you're the governor of a border state, so you're gonna have unique obstacles that some other states are not gonna have, right? So I don't think people should be chiming in, especially if they don't experience the same thing. But we have to be solution based and not just pass problem to problem. So am I missing the point?
I mean, there's obviously one single solution, and I think when you have sanctuary states, because unfortunately,
We're a sanctuary state, I think.
we're a sanctuary city.
City.
I think unfortunately and fortunately, every state has their rules and this, that, and the third, right? So when you're not tasked with a specific problem, but your doors are wide open to receive them, well, then you should receive them. I think when we talk about, oh, the humanity of people, they put them on a bus, they go to New York, and New York takes them in, puts them in a shelter, obviously they're putting them in a school, they're displacing people to help the migrants that are coming in. So whether it happened kindly or it happened out of revenge, it doesn't really matter because the outcome is still the same.
But there's a right way to do things. There's ways.
No.
I think there's ways to prepare.
The right way is if everyone has the same rules and everyone agrees.
Well,
but if New York is a sanctuary state and Texas is not, and then the people of Texas are feeling the brunt of the outcome of this problem, and New York is touting that they can handle it, well then let New York handle it. Your laws are more lax in that direction.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that, but I do think there's something that comes from
being buddies and friends,
not friends, but just working together, because they, in the sense of it all, they are colleagues. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but what if the rules are not the same?
The rules are not the same, but
so why should they work together?
Because it's the right thing to do.
Who says?
I do. From my point of view, I think it's the right thing to do. I think to have a good working relationship with someone it makes it easier for the job, for the space.
Maybe.
And make it easier for everybody. Like to have a plan. I just think that's.
I mean, there's a single plan that needs to be applied, and obviously it's not for whatever reason, political, but it's not being applied, and it's on the back of the federal government. So when we talk about these things and we say like, oh, there needs to be a plan and things like that, there actually doesn't really need to be a plan because there's already a plan in place and people are just breaking the rules to that plan. Does that make sense?
Kinda. Who's breaking the rules to what plan?
Well, if we have
there's a process in place and people are not following the right process.
Correct, exactly.
So, but does that fall on
the federal government?
Yeah, absolutely. But when it comes to like, because have the states' right thing, does that fall on the individual who is breaking the rules? So if Texas, I don't know really anything about politics, but if they have their rules to deal with the people that are breaking the rules, shouldn't they deal with it that way? Does that make sense? And is that way like, oh, if you come in the country, not the legal way, then we will bus you to a sanctuary state so you'll be safe? Or is it you have to leave the country. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't know the rules when it comes to, hey, this person, our state is governed this way. They broke the state's rules, so this is what happens when this happens. I don't think busting up someone was a part of the, like, unless it's a new thing, could be.
It's a response. It's
Yeah, it's a petty response.
Yeah, but you know what's
It's
really
funny,
you know
but-
what's really petty, and it's not funny. I think what's really petty is saying we have this procedure that we have to go through, but for my own political gain, you have to take care of these people, balance the budget enough to take taxpayer money and pay for an ever-growing population where you cannot have infrastructure to help these people out in the real way. So yeah, people may not be a fan of them going to New York and sleeping in shelters or sleeping in schools, but what about the people who go to Texas and Texas is like breaking at the brim? They don't have enough to help these people, so now people are living on the street. It's like an ever evolving problem, and there's no simple solution because every state has their different ideas and ideals about how to solve this problem, and there's one single solution. There's one.
Yeah, but you're not gonna say that.
I don't have to say it because the country already said it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess my problem wasn't them sleeping in shelters, or I just felt like, or I thought there would be a process when it happened.
Like returning them? Like
Or something.
piece
Like
of clothing from Ross?
No. No. But if you overstay your visa, there's consequences. We all know
But they don't
that.
have visas.
I know. So what happens? What happens when that happens? What's like the protocol if that happens? You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the.
We should call Obama.
No, I ain't gonna call him. It don't affect me.
They call him deportation in chief.
I mean, we have to. Because I don't necessarily think that's completely wrong. In a way, I think there's a right way and a wrong way to do things.
Oh,
right? I think there's laws in place for a reason, and I think just because there's a law doesn't mean we have to be evil about it, or we have to. You know what I mean? There's things that we can do to have a solution to a problem. You know what I mean? Like, I know you say there's one solution, but I mean, or to kind of like remedy the situation as a foot. And maybe that was his way of remedying by sending them to New York and saying, hey, Sanctuary City, if they're up there, they can stay in the United States of America. They have no risk of being deported. Then, I don't know. I don't know. I have no law degree. I have no political science degree. I don't know. I'm just hearing about this now. So, I'm just, whatever. Not whatever to the people. Like, love people.
How could you say that to the migrants? You can't gay your way out of this. You can't gay your way out of this. Okay? We don't feel bad for you. It's not 2020 anymore.
Oh, it came.
First time.
Could you imagine?
All right, I got one last thing for you.